biggest one that we have seen is Jalen Brunson going to the New York Knicks.
You give that a grade.
4 years, $104 million. He is the first ever player to get $100 million contract from the team that didn't draft him without being an all-star.
Can I give you a quick fun tidbit before we give grades? I think it was I want to say it was in March that the Mavericks approached Brunson and offered 4 years. No. Brunson's team approached the Mavs and they wanted to get an extension for 4 years, 56 million. And the Mavs were like, no, we'll wait. And he doubled his money. That's insane. He doubled his money. And he went. Why don't you give your grade? There's so many fun hot takes out there on both ends. Everybody's mad about this. Is anyone actually, nobody's happy about, I think the only person who's happy about this is Brunson. The Mavs are not happy. And the Knicks are like, the only Knicks that are happy are just like bitter Knicks fans that like want to crap on someone else's parade and just be happy that they stole Dallas's second best player. Like that is the sole joy of what has become a joyless fan base. Sorry to say, Ronnie, you're not joyless. You carry the baton as a fun-loving Knicks fan, but every one of your people just joyless, soulless.
It's I'm gonna give it a B minus, just because I think it's almost insane to think of him being worth that much money. As much as he's developed and grown and shown his talents, that's a serious amount of money for a guy like Jalen Brunson. And I think they're bringing him in to be like the legit point guard that we haven't had in like 30 years or whatever. And I just don't really see him at that. I see him as a two guard much more so than I see him as a natural point. Obviously, we haven't got to see that much of him, obviously, because he's playing alongside Luka Doncic. But there's talking bringing him in. He's going to be the point guard to lead this team. And I just look at it and think DeJounte Murray would have been a better fit than Jalen Brunson. I know maybe that wasn't on the cards for them or what, but I think I would definitely say that. But in terms of Brunson, I love his game. I really believe that he's going to improve. He's still only a young player. But we just brought in another point guard whose best way of scoring is inside and in the paint, which is the same way for Julius Randle, and which you could also argue is the same way for RJ Barrett. Hopefully his shot can continue to improve. He's going to have to make it happen like that if he wants to continue to be, if he wants to become the top scorer on this team. But I just don't know if the fit is there for it. I love Brunson, but I just can't get fully behind it just yet until I see it.
I agree. That exact thing that you just mentioned is how good he was all related to. And let's rewind here. Like, this isn't about Jalen Brunson not being a good player. Jalen Brunson is an excellent player. I do believe that with in the right system, I think with enough touches, I think he's a borderline all-star in the way that Fred VanVleet is. I think he's that same level of player. Yeah. Borderline all-star, maybe makes one, maybe makes two all-star games at his peak. So is that a guy who's worth that money? Actually, like, I think so. So I'm not super low on it in that regard. I think the optics are terrible though. They're so bad. Like, if you haven't heard already, the fact that his dad is, oh my God, what are the connections? Can you reprise the connections that exist between him, his dad, his godfather, who happens to be Leon Rose, who's Leon Rose's like son is Jalen Brunson's agent, right? And they're all connected. They're all going to be hanging out at a cookout on July 4th, all high-fiving over Jalen Brunson getting $104 million. But another point of confusion I have over this too is that the fact that apparently Woj had reported about him getting $106 million offer sheet and bringing that to the Knicks? Was that just not real? Is that fake? I don't know. That was random. No one's talking about that, but like that was reported by Woj. I mean, Woj isn't perfect, but like I don't know where that went, but whatever. But I
He
think
also said
that
he had a meeting with the Miami Heat, which was never a thing.
was that not okay.
No.
So this is the thing, dude. Like we don't know what to like. Only thing we can do is react to what actually happens because it's so fruitless to talk about all these things that are often misdirection by the front office, and we're all just part of this machine that drives all the smoke into the air that distracts other teams, whatever. But I do have questions about how he fits on the New York Knicks as currently constructed and whether or not he will reach that peak that I do think he can in a system like the Mavs had. So one man's trash is another man's treasure. One man's treasure is another man's not so valuable treasure. It's a terrible way of putting it, but I unfortunately think that's might be how it goes. I'll give this signing I'll go with you. B minus. I agree with that. That's fair. That's not harsh, but that's fair.
Yeah, yeah. This is very much a wait and see. You can have your instant react. This is very much a wait and see how it works out in the first year, because it's not like it's something that has to go down straight away because this is still a young player. But yeah, this is a wait and see moment. Thanks for watching Coast to Coast on YouTube. For full episodes, check out the show wherever you get your podcasts. And for all the best hot takes, subscribe to the Coast to Coast YouTube channel below.